Today, I have with me Trinda from WSI, which is We Simplify the Internet. Trinda, why don't you give everybody a little brief history about yourself and in franchising, and then just tell us all about the WSI.
Absolutely, Greg, and thank you very much for having us. I'm just going to shut this camera off for a second and share my screen. Should be able to see that. So again, thank you very much for joining us today. Greg, thank you for having us. I've actually been with WSI for 20 years. Prior to that, they were one of my clients for 5 years. So I actually started here when you'd call a secretary and they'd say, yeah, I think we have one of those www dot things. So a little bit different back then. Yep. But 25 years later, we are the world's largest network of digital marketing consultants. We have offices in over 80 countries across the globe, and essentially are partnered with companies like Google. This brings a ton of value into our system because what happens is Google's consistently changing how things show up on the search engines and how we do business online. And we tend to know about these things well in advance, and it gives us the opportunity to educate our franchisees, their clients, and it puts us in a position to be very proactive opposed to reactive as things change. We've also picked up, obviously, a lot of awards along the way. Top Agency Award through the World Wide Web Marketing Association 2 years in a row. Our blog has been ranked in the top 10. We've been ranked as the top franchise company, especially through something like the pandemic. As you can understand, digital marketing is quite needed at this time. But I will talk a little bit more about that later today as well. And essentially what our franchisees do is they help small, medium, and large size businesses with anything as it relates to digital marketing. So it could be website solutions, social media, mobile marketing, anything that falls under that digital marketing umbrella. What you're providing is a one-stop shop. Now, the franchisee's role in the business is that of the consultant. So it's understanding, what is that business doing today? What are their customers doing? What's the competition doing? And what's the opportunity? Once we've determined what that is, you're not going to go build a website or run a campaign. We have an entire supply chain of production centers, solution centers, authorized suppliers, partners like Google that will build the solutions for you. You'll then deliver them to your client and maintain the long-term relationship. So all these suppliers in our e-marketplace, they all have guarantees, warranties, service level agreements. This is really where a lot of the training comes in, but essentially think of this like your labor force.
Gotcha.
Much larger business without having any staff. Now, that being said, 70% of our franchisees are sole proprietors. They run the business from a home office. They're looking to replace a corporate income, typically between the ages of 45 to 65 when they're awarded the franchise. In a lot of cases, they've been outsized, downsized, right size. They're looking to replace that corporate income, but they don't want the open and close sign on the door. They want more of a lifestyle type business. And it's interesting that I say lifestyle because we just did our biweekly open forum with our franchisees. And one of our franchisees out of Ireland is currently on a sailboat with his family. And he has traveled to 8 countries so far while still operating his business.
Wow.
He just sent me a picture and it's got like the WSI logo on the mast. It's got it on the side of the boat. We have franchisees across the US that have these beautiful Airstreams and RVs and literally drive across the country, meet with other franchisees, work with clients across the country. So it's kind of interesting to see what that lifestyle means for different people.
That is cool. True.
24% of franchisees are family units, husband and wife teams. I have a lot of, father-son type situations. And then the remainder of franchisees have grown the business very large. So I also have units that have 35 staff in office and doing millions a year in business. The business can be a lot of different things. It just depends on what you're looking to do with it. Typically, most franchisees operate the same until the end of year 2. And then at year 2 is where they kind of say, okay, I want to either A, keep my business where it is and maybe add in a couple more larger clients. B, I want to bring in a commissioned salesperson or a project manager, or now I want to look to grow the business. So there's a lot of different paths that you can take. So our onboarding process, typically our process takes about 3 to 5 weeks to kind of get you to the point where you've got a solid understanding of the business. Once you have a good understanding of the business, we'll get you speaking with people that are in the business. And we tend to get you a range of people across the country who are under a year, 2 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, 10 and older. Once you've spoke with franchisees, you're really in a position to be able to make a good decision, as are we. If we mutually decide the business is the right fit, the next step is doing formal application, 25% deposit, getting your file in front of our selection committee for approval. Once we have approval, congratulations, remaining 75% would be due. And from there, you would open the doors of your business and start learning. So it's an earn and learn type concept. You're not waiting months to get going with creating revenue and meeting with clients. We do our foundations course, our virtual certification, our quick start training program, ongoing and active coaching as well. So we talk about all of this through the process and obviously a lot more detail, but your foundations is really your first step. And it's, we assume that everybody has never ran their own business. So how do you register a business account? How do you promote your business? How do you understand your KPIs in terms of what your goals over your first year? So you have a coach that's working with you consistently. You're going through our finding the voice, which is, okay, how do I target a client? How do I understand their needs and opportunities? Then you're going through your virtual training, which is a week long. This is actually ran by one of our franchisees out of Virginia. He's been with us now for about 16 years. He's got about 35 staff. He runs our Road to a Million training. So you're learning from a very seasoned franchisee.
Excellent.
And then we do things like your goal setting and review process. Everybody needs to have a path. What's your goal over your first year, second year, third year? How can we help you to get there? What are other franchisees doing and really best practices? Because what you're really buying with a franchise, especially in something established as this, is 25 years of someone else's mistakes that you don't need to make.
True.
You're going to do your digital strategy certification. Just a bit of feedback from some of our franchisees who have kind of done this over the last year or two. And it's really highlighting the in-depth detail and the kind of hand-holding of the coaches and, how do I do this and how do I do that? I was just talking to a franchisee. Actually, he's now just hit the end of his 2-year mark. And he was on one of our open forums, which we do every 2 weeks with our entire franchise community. And he was talking about the power of active coaching. So after being in the business for 6 months, a year, he really attributes a lot of his success to the coaches that held his hand, because we can give you everything you need. I can't get you up at 8 or 9 a.m. to go see a potential client. So there is a you factor, and you do need to take the support and resources that are there.
Good point.
Every year we survey our franchisees. What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? What can we improve on? Because we're never going to be the ivory tower that's perfect at everything. And one of the feedbacks that we got was, what's the most helpful ongoing educational and support resources in your business? So they pointed out the biweekly open forums that I just talked about, our virtual regional meetings, which we hope to get back to in person soon. Our online and e-learning courses ongoing, supplier webinars, supplier certification. So this is a business that it's never going to be the same. There's always new tools, new technologies, new opportunities. Now, they mean always new revenue streams with your same customer, which is why we have an 80% recurring revenue and a 90% retention rate. But you have to like learning. If you're looking to put the same bolt into the same hole every day, this is not the right business.
Good point.
Leveraging the brand, leveraging the brand is obviously key. Anything that we've done, our experience becomes yours, where you can literally walk in the door to a business in any industry and say, here's 5 examples of solutions that we've produced in your industry. Here's the challenges that these companies had. here's what we did for them, here's the end result, this is what I can do for you. So it gives you that instant credibility right away. Marketing resources are very important. All of your marketing is pretty much done in the system. Everything from our 3rd edition of our WSI Digital Minds book to any types of like client intelligence reports, PowerPoint presentations. Bi-weekly, we do our, monthly, we do our end client webinar. So you'll invite your potential or existing clients to attend. They'll spend 45 minutes to an hour getting educated and come back to you for servicing. So you get a report every month that says, hey, these 57 people that you invited attended, 23 of them asked questions, kind of here's what they asked and here's who you need to contact. So it's a great form of lead generation, which of course we talk about more through the process. And then our ever famous global convention with our ping pong tournaments and supplier events. And last one we did was actually in Mexico at the end of 2019. We're out of Canada, so we're kind of still in lockdown. Apparently, as of the 5th, we'll be able to enter into restaurants again, which I'm very happy about. We're a little crazy in the Canadian market here. We are not as free to travel as most countries, but we will get back there. We're actually hoping 3rd quarter this year to get back to our global convention. So this is really where you're collaborating with hundreds of your peers from across the globe. It's an opportunity to, share best practices, learn from each other. There's a lot of collaboration in this business. One of the reasons I've been here 20 years is this is my family. It's the family you chose instead of the one that you got. And it's very clear, and you see that within our franchise community. I talked to a franchisee out of California. He started around the same time as a franchisee in South Africa, and their spouses and them became very good friends. They hit their like 20th or 30th or 50th anniversary or something and traveled to South Africa for 3 weeks, went on safari. They've gone back and forth to different countries. Franchisees say you can literally travel around the world and never have a hotel. And it's very true, because you start to know your WSI family around the world very well, especially at things like this and some of our collaboration tools. Like Facebook came to us about 4.5, 5 years ago and said, hey, we're looking at launching something called Facebook at Work. We'd love for you guys to play with this, which we did internally. And then we launched it to our entire system. So this is like Facebook on steroids for business. It's closed to just our franchisees, suppliers, head office. You can communicate with your peers 24/7, message people. You'll see people pop in here and say, hey, I got a client in the pharmaceutical industry. Anybody done any work here? And all of a sudden you got responses below and examples, and you're bouncing ideas off of each other. So it's a very important collaborative network.
Definitely.
Okay, costs within the business. So everybody says, all right, what's this cost? In our business, it's a little bit different. Most franchise models will say, all right, here's your zip code or postal code type territory, and away you go. This is a consulting business. So the territory is not exclusive, but the client is. One individual can really only manage about 20 to maybe 60 clients because of the amount of recurring revenue and retention with the same customer. So the odds of you running into someone else are very unlikely. Franchisees will validate that it's a collaborative network and that it's not an issue. So there's 3 territory options in the US. You have the ability to do business in a local area, which would be $49,700 US dollars. So for example, Orange County, Dade County, those would be considered local licenses. A regional license is $59,700 US dollars and gives you the ability to do business anywhere within a state, except for cases like, Utah, that would be a local, because obviously it's a little bit of a smaller state.
Yeah, true.
And then $64,700 US dollars is the national license. That gives you the ability to do business anywhere in the US market. It's portable. You can move from state to state. You can move from country to country. And you pay the franchise fee once. Every 10 years, you're going to renew for another 10 years, and it's a $2,000 renewal. We do qualify for E2 visa. And if you're a veteran, we just require a copy of your DD-214, and we offer a 20% vet discount on the franchise fee.
Nice.
In addition to the franchise fee, we recommend having about 15, 20,000 in operational and marketing expenses. Now, this is going to vary depending on the person. If you're well networked, if you've, done some consulting and marketing in the background, in your back experience, which some people have and some people haven't. I mean, I have a guy in Carolina that used to be the captain of a Navy submarine, which is as far away from digital marketing as you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And he's done business 100% virtually since the beginning.
Wow.
And he's been with us like 16 years, I'm going to say. I think he's in his late 70s, early 80s now and still does the business. So
That's amazing. Cool.
But somebody who has a strong network in sales or marketing and a good business network, I mean, they can spend less on marketing because they'll target more of their existing network. So that will range. So basically you're looking at anywhere between about 70 to 85,000 all in first year. Other than that, most franchisees run the business from home.
Gotcha.
So a few quick facts. Profit margins in our business are about 50 to 60%. 80% recurring revenue, 90% retention rate, average time to first sale is about 50 days, 20% bet discount, and the main role of the franchisee is that of the consultant or project manager. So it's all about building long-term relationships. One of the things I did want to do, which I think is very important, is I think it's important to understand how do our franchisees make a difference in businesses. We just had this case study about a week ago in one of our biweekly open forums because we do a Making a Difference session every 2 weeks. Remember, these become yours. So I just wanted to touch on this one. This is actually one of our franchisees' clients. It's an HVAC, so heating, cooling. And this company was struggling what most companies are with a lack of conversions. Direct mail, of course, wasn't performing anymore. They were getting a low call volume. They just weren't getting new customers. So the franchisee had such an impact on the business, they had to purchase 2 new service vans, revenue growth year over year, and they helped to level out lead seasonality. As we know in a lot of businesses like landscaping or things like that, they always have an up season and a down season. This helped level it out so they didn't see those hills and valleys in their business. Just a bit of feedback from the actual client says this franchisee, Jim, has been assisting our business for almost 2 years now. It originally started out with a 6-month contract and then extended out. He started off actually by doing a free consultation of their website, which is one of the tools that we have in our system that helps you to identify needs and opportunities. So I'll actually show that through the process and kind of give you some examples. And he originally had met this client at a B&I group. They started talking. Through training, he learned something called his 30-second elevator speech, which is, who am I in 30 seconds? They started chatting, turned into a small client, which then turned into a more substantial client.
Cool.
So to give you an idea, his development cost was $1,895, $1,865 monthly. His return on investment was 54 to 62%.
Very nice.
Big question. How is our business affected by the pandemic? It's not really. We're in a very fortunate situation in our industry that we're kind of the opposite. In fact, revenue is up system-wide in all regions from 21 to over 21 to 2020, and then 2021 even over 2019 prior pandemic. We did something last year called our Going for Growth coaching, which is where we took franchisees who were over 10K a month in recurring revenue and said, okay, how can we take your business to the next step to get you up to the next level in recurring revenue? That group in the middle of a pandemic had a 46% year-over-year growth. Nice. So digital services and digital marketing is going to continue to be in need. Budgets are going to increase. And what's interesting and what this pandemic has done is it's made businesses realize that if you're not online, you're not going to be in business. If you are online, you're spending more money because they realize the value of it. So regardless of what happens in the market, whether it's a recession, whether it's a downturn in the economy, whether it's the crazy pandemic, digital marketing is not going away because you're not going to stop using your phone. You're not going to stop buying products online. You're not going to stop looking at information online. The internet is not going anywhere.
True.
So that is really a high level introduction to the business. And it's really there just to kind of give you an understanding of, okay, what is it that a franchisee does? What's the value provided? Our process, like I said, takes about 3 to 5 weeks to get you to the point where you really have a solid understanding of the business and then get you speaking with people in the business. So if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Greg, who can certainly create the introduction, or to myself directly, and I'd be happy to provide you with some further details.
Perfect, Trinda. I appreciate that. Now, one question I did have, you kind of alluded to a little bit, but who are you looking for in your potential franchisees? Are there any particular traits or skill sets? You know, you mentioned networking and good sales thing, but what are you looking for?
You know, it's interesting because when I get asked that question, it's a little bit hard for me to answer because I've got franchisees like my submarine Navy guy. I got franchisees who come from 20 years in accounting. I got franchisees who have ran manufacturing, pharmaceutical businesses. Our top 5% of franchisees either come from a sales, marketing, business development, or consulting background. But I have franchisees that come from all sorts of backgrounds. What you need to understand is that you are not going to be sitting in a room on a computer. You need to have the ability to build relationships and connect with people. You're not going to be typically doing cold calling unless, of course, you want to. There is lead generation partners in the system that you can hire to do that or bring in somebody locally. But there's a lot of ways to get your clients where you don't really need to do those activities. So the key is that you need to be somebody who enjoys talking to people. You need to be somebody who enjoys building relationships. You need to be somebody who likes to continually learn because our business is going to change. And you need to be passionate about helping businesses to succeed. I can tell you that one of the most rewarding things that franchisees say that they get out of this is looking back at a business who maybe had 5 employees and maybe 2 trucks. And all of a sudden now they have 40 employees and 50 trucks, and they've just exploded in business as a result of what the franchisee's done for them. Financially, that's obviously very rewarding for the franchisee, but it's very rewarding to see the impact that you've had on this business, their families, their employees' families as well.
That is perfect. And you've shown obviously that you don't necessarily need to go knock on doors, that you can, some of your franchisees just do it right there from their home office, never have to leave home.
Correct. The majority of them actually do.
Oh, that.
And
one.
certainly with
Go ahead.
Certainly with the pandemic, I can tell you that a lot more franchisees have been doing things virtually and not leaving their home. And what's interesting about that is that businesses are more accepting of that. So a business 2 years ago that might have said, oh, I don't want to talk to you on Zoom, come shake my hand. That whole mentality has changed now with the pandemic, where everything is a lot more virtual. People have realized how easy it is to do that.
Yep, this is true. A lot more Zoom calls, a lot more Zoom meetings. And if you like helping people and you like helping businesses, WSI is just a great way to do it. Been around a long time, 20 something years, you said?
Yeah, 25 plus years.
25 plus.
I've been here 20, but I'm only 29. So, you know.
There you go. There you go. And it's always changing and always something new. So you never get bored. It's never dull. Always, never a dull moment out there. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Well, Trinda, thank you very
Greg,
much.
thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. I appreciate it, Trinda. And there's Trinda's information. So don't hesitate to either reach out to me or reach out to Trinda, and we will definitely get you going on that. Thanks again, Trinda.